Hi everybody, this is Zoltan and welcome to episode 6. We are now in season 2 for the Milan Juniors, and if you remember, this team started out as a one-star team at the very bottom of Serie B. We basically were just a youth division team, and we have now survived as basically in the mid-table. And because of the fact that I have my budget settings set up to funnel all the money into my salary budget, I was able to get quite a bit of salary, and I also sold a couple of players. So you'll see here in a minute that my transfer budget is 21 million, salary budget is 6.4, even though I have already brought in a couple of players. Let's take a look here at some of the players that I just recently signed. If we look here at the squad list, so these were players that we were looking at before at the end of last episode that were on expiring contracts, even though season 2 had already started. I'm surprised that these guys, I was able to just offer them a salary and no transfer fee, and they were able to come from other teams directly onto my team because they were on expiring contracts, which I thought was kind of strange. All three of them came in that way. So there's not a lot of players in that situation, but there are a few, and it's really a good way for a quick upgrade. There's also a couple of other players who were a little bit lower, but what's really good about some of these guys is I only had to offer them a salary because they were free agents, and they have a pretty big release fee, which means that there's room for them to grow, and I won't necessarily have to re-sign them later on down the road. As you can see, the release fee is 22 million, and he is signed through the year 2023. So his current market value is 9.6 million, and I only had to pay him 331,000 and no transfer fee. So that will be someone I think could grow, and perhaps I could make 15-20 million on my transfer budget, which I guess you could say is a version of somewhat unrealistic, that I could just bring guys like that in off of the street, but that's what the game was allowing me to do, so I didn't do anything too unusual. I didn't bring a whole bunch of players like that, but there are a few guys here, and what's good about them is some of these guys here in the middle, which doesn't show here, but if I go back to squad list, you can see they have a real face, and that's kind of the key because they're regions. This guy was off of my youth division, so I just brought him in directly from there. And this guy was a free agent, so he has a real face, 16 years old, and a couple of other center backs. Similar situation with these guys. And this guy came off my youth division as well. So I do have some guys here that do not have real face, but I brought them in as a free agent because they had a very high release fee, so there's going to be opportunity for me to sell them later on and make a little bit of money from them. So really, I mean, it's unrealistic to some extent, but that's what I need to do to get this team up to Serie A contention. So let's look at some of the other players that I just recently made offers to. It's hard sometimes because some players I've offered will reject me no matter what, because we are a Division 2 team and they are coming from Division 1 teams. And they oftentimes don't accept it, but you got to try because sometimes they will. Here's PSV, for example, which is a pretty good team. Sometimes they're in Champions League or Europa, and they did accept this because I met their release fee. Nothing they could do about it. The transfer fee was equal to the release fee. But the player did come back and ask for a little bit higher salary and no bonuses. So I think that's fine. I'm willing to accept this. This is actually a pretty good left wing. He's got a lot of speed, and he was actually on the transfer list and loan list anyway, so they wanted to get rid of him. And so I'm just going to go ahead and bring him in. He's going to be my starting left wing. So that did take a big chunk of my transfer budget and salary budget as well. So let's look at another one here. This guy is actually a little bit older, 34 years old, but still has a lot of speed and stamina for somebody his age, which is surprising. So his annual budget is not bad, $372,000. There's no release fee because I would expect he's probably going to retire soon. But I'll go ahead and accept that because he immediately will become my starting right back. We also have this guy who is probably going to be my backup right back. And I will accept this. I think his release fee doesn't go up that much. It's only $2.4 million. So I will probably need to renew his contract soon because he's young. He's 23. He probably will go up a little bit. But I'll take him now for my backup right back. And that just allows me to put my other right back on the transfer list, and I'll just try to sell the guy that I was using last season. Here's another one with a real face. He's going to be my backup center forward. He's got a really low stamina. He's 32 years old. There isn't much I can do about that. But, you know, he had a real face, and I thought it's not a bad deal. I can just offer him $439,000 salary with no transfer fee. So I thought that was worth it. So I'll go ahead and accept him. All right, so all of these have been accepted. And if I look here at my listed players, first of all, we can take a look at the guy who rejected me. He's from Krasnodar, which I'm surprised. He felt that that was better for him. He didn't want to move. And so he completely rejected my offer. I have another guy I'm looking at here just because he's some odd player with a really low transfer fee of $40,000, which is absurd. But that means his release fee is going to be $73,000, and I'll never be able to sell him for much of a profit. So that's always going to be an issue for me, and it's just not worth it. I think I'm just going to skip that guy. This guy just signed for me, so I can remove him from my list. And this is the guy that had the real face who also just re-signed with me, but he's 32. He's probably going to retire. And so I'm left with two more guys. This guy is a regen, and he's really low, 64, but I figured that would be worth it for me to try to bring him in because he's eager to move, and I can actually bring him in for probably a little less than this and knock it down a couple of clicks and just offer him $33,000 as a free agent. His release fee will be $825,000, so that will be he'll grow into that position, I believe. This one is a little different. He's 21 years old, and I think it's worth it to bring him in because it says I can only negotiate 5. So I got to advance a day before I can negotiate with anybody else. So let me advance one day and just see what happens. I think I might have had a negotiation with a player that received an offer. Yeah, right here. So he got $3.7 million offered, and that's actually pretty close to his release fee. And so I'm just going to go ahead and accept that. He was actually from my youth division last season, and this is a great way to replenish your transfer budget. And he had a $90,000 salary, so that helps to increase that as well. I think I have one more player down here that was offered kind of a low ball offer. His release fee is $222,000, market value at $189,000, transfer fee of $153,000. It's reasonable for me to think I could probably get a little bit more. So I could probably go as high as $184,000, I think. So it's only 5,000 below the market value. I think he'll still take that. So we can advance one day. I think it's set up for one day. Yes, every day. And this way I'll bring in, there'll be a cutscene here. There'll be some new guys coming in to the team, but that will allow me to negotiate a little bit more. And here's the press room. I think that's my left winger, Cody Gakpo. So he will immediately become my starter. And so I got another offer here for somebody on my list, Hibbard, who was from the youth division last year. This guy is departing, and I have 4 newcomer notices, so I should have freed up a space for me, 4 spaces for me to make more offers. So let's see what I'd receive for the guy Hibbard. 920,000. I could probably renegotiate a little bit more. Not much need to do that really, but let's go ahead and just, for the sake of it, his release fee is 1089. Let's see if I can get, yeah, that looks about right. So ask for 92,000 more, pinch every penny, and now this will allow me to offer the guy that I was looking at. And the good thing is this guy actually wants to sign for the team. He's very excited. He would welcome a move to the team, and look at his release fee is at 14,000. So this will be an instant profit for me when I sell him later on. And because he's eager to join, I could probably knock this down a couple of points down to 226,000. And let's see if he accepts that. Alright, so both of these guys have now received offers. And I have still a need for a center midfielder, because if you remember, that other player just rejected me. So I need to go out there and do a search, because scouting has been useless, because they were scouting for last season. As you can see, all of the people, with the exception of Pierre Gabriel, were 72 or below. I need guys right now. I'm trying to look for guys who are kind of more in the mid 70s to really upgrade my team. So let's look for somebody. Maybe I need a center mid, and I prefer to have taller players at center mid. I think it gives them a tremendous advantage. Oh no, that's Max. Getting the ball away. So I'm going to make a minimum of 177 maybe. That's about 5'10" maybe. And I also want to limit the age. Don't want somebody too old. And let's see, maybe overall rating. Start with 76 maybe. Alright, now when you look at these guys, many of them are probably not going to be very impressed with my team, because these are first tier, like Premier League players, and they are too expensive. So I can go looking around. Now his release fee would be 27 million. So that's gives me room to grow. but I currently don't have that much of a transfer budget anyway. If I look at somebody like this who can also play center mid, he's also a very cool looking player. Problem is, I don't know if he'll accept my offer because he comes from a team that typically is Europa, possibly a little bit higher level Premier League team, so he's probably not going to accept that. Now, his release fee also doesn't give me much room to grow. That's a little bit of a problem, because if I did increase this, the release fee for the new contract, I think would also end up being about the same, so that doesn't help me very much. And let's look at somebody like this as a good center mid. He's lower, and his release fee is 6.1, but his release fee now doesn't seem to exist. 6.9, I guess it is. So I would end up paying 6.9 and end up getting a release fee on his new contract of 6.1. That doesn't work. That's not going to be a good ratio. Doesn't leave any room for growth. So these are the things you need to look at when it comes to considering. Like, here's another one. He'll be 3.6. His current release fee, as you can see right now, if I go all the way, is 3.1. That's as high up as it goes. So I can pay the full amount, and then his release fee is about 500,000 more. Annual salary is 596 for a decent player. So this is a possibility here. But I'm really looking for a player with a real face, which this guy does not. But we can check. So there is a little bit of room here. Well, no, actually there's not. His release fee is the same this year as it would be on his new contract. So that doesn't work. Here's a guy with a real face. Paslic. I think he's originally in Atalanta, and for some reason now he's with Chelsea. He's got decent stats, not great, but okay. And I like his physical contact is really important. Stamina. His passing looks really great. Decent ball control. Here's a key thing right here. His height is 188, so it's really nice having somebody like this that has a really a good height advantage. And he also has very good defensive awareness and ball winning and aggression for somebody playing center mid. And it looks like he can also play attacking midfielder as well. So this is a good all-around player. He's still 25. I think he kind of fits the bill, exactly what I'm looking for. Let's see. But he is from Chelsea, so let's see if he would reject my offer or not. I don't know. So let's see, his transfer fee 10.5. They of course are not impressed, so I'm going to have to offer something similar to the release fee of this year, which on the new contract it says 16.3 million. So let's see what he. All right, so that's good. So his current transfer fee max release fee is 11.7. So I can pay the release clause now. And that way the team doesn't have any say in negotiations. So that's pretty good because it allows me almost 5 million increase right off the bat, because his new release fee will be 16 million. Annual salary I might have to increase a little bit because he's not impressed with our team. So let's just bump this up a few clicks so that he doesn't freak out and run away. And he's at an age where I can actually offer him a 5-year contract. So let's see if he might accept 995,000. And the trouble is, he's from a really good team that. Let's see if it doesn't show if he's on the. Doesn't show if he's on the transfer list, but. I think it might in another box if I go here. And he is not on the transfer list now. So I don't know. His market value is 15 million, and I'll be getting 16 million release fee. So right off the bat, this is a really nice 5 million or so bonus, because what I'm paying for him now is less than what his market value would be. And I'm also paying him a little less than his current annual salary, which is 1.2 million. So it's very unlikely that he would accept this. And so I might have to try this a few times to see if it would work or not. And we do have, let's see if I remember correctly, I do have a couple players here that I'm still negotiating with. And I'm asking for a little increase on this guy, as well as Hibbard. So we have two guys that we're looking at hopefully selling. And I also have two players here that are free agents that I'm trying to get as well, which is Baha and Jakob. So, as well as my really big offer, which is for Pasalic. So let's see what happens. We can advance here 5 days, and hopefully everything goes our way. All right, 5 days going forward. Somehow I doubt that everything is going to happen the way we want. This guy did accept. He was one of my free agents. Paslick is willing to move, but he wants better terms, so let's take a look at what he's looking for. Hibbert is accepted, so that's good. And Jakob also accepted, so that's pretty good as well. And Spezia looks like they accepted my counter offer. And I got a new offer for this guy as well, so good day all around. So let's take a look here real quick at what the counter offer was. Hopefully it's not any type of bonus. So he's just asking for more money. That's good, and I'm fine with that. So I'm willing to give him a little extra, as long as he's not asking for any specific bonuses. I think overall this is going to be a really good boost to my midfield. And he's got a real face, so I think that's a plus. So that took a big chunk out of my transfer budget as well as my salary budget. And this guy didn't ask for any type of bonuses, so I'll go ahead and accept this as well. Gives me a good backup attacking midfielder. And also, this guy can play more than one position, so he can also play center mid. And he's also green as a center back. So I think this is a good all-around purchase here. He probably won't get too much playing time, but I'll be able to sell him later on. And let's see what happened with my other negotiations. Hibbard, they did accept it, so I guess all I have to do at this point is accept the terms. And that gives me a little money back. And same thing with Drame. And so that was pretty good. So I'm getting almost exactly the same as his market value, which is kind of low. Now, I could have put him on loan, I guess, for a year, but I've already got 33 players on my roster. I don't really want to be adding too many more guys. I kind of need to let go of some players here. I think this guy is on my transfer list, so that'll be my next thing to do at this point, is to take a look at 352,000. I think the next thing for me to do is renegotiate and try to get a little bit more, because his market value is 489,000. He was somebody I was actually considering putting out on a loan, but his contract ends in a year anyway, so I might as well go ahead and sell him. So that'll be my next thing for me to do, is get something a little closer to the 489 and try to negotiate something like a 475. So we'll just continue on and on going through this transfer window and trying to, let's see if I need to move forward one day. Change this to every day, move forward one day here. And bring in my new star, Paslick. So it should be a cutscene here, and we'll just continue on this season. There's not too much left for me to do, and I'm just going to try to continue to sell a few players and clean out my roster a little bit. And that's it. So take a look for episode 7 coming up.